All right, so welcome back to Grimnasty TV. Today we're going to talk about prisons. Prisons. Everybody in here is in like some kind of prison. All right, so let's talk about out there in the world. You got people uh, spending their entire life living in secrecy, hiding behind a mask, and they are not who they claim to be, and they undermine their likeness and they undermine their existence, and they don't live in happiness. They live in misery as they have to hide what they believe to be not good for the world and the people, and it would be apparently atrocious and naturally a self-loathing of non-deservingness to not even show your face anywhere is the prison that a lot of beings live in this place. They're not humans, obviously, but they live in secrecy because they are ashamed of themselves. And if they come out, they think that people are not going to understand them because they don't understand themselves. You understand? Is that I walk out in the public. If I turn to Mickey Mouse, I'm going to walk out in the fucking public and have a great time. It's because I speak truth. I don't want to hurt people. I don't steal from people like that. I don't do anything wrong to anyone. I just want to help people. So the gratification of my own self-progression and truthfulness is going to be the thing that it makes me whole to where I can show my face in public and hold my chest up and not look down and wonder who's going to hate me or whatever. People that are making up the mass majority are the ones that are probably not going to like me. However, that's because they are the ones that are hiding. You understand? Is they're the ones that are shameful, and they want to pretend like they're proud, but but they're not. Otherwise, they wouldn't be hiding in plain sight. You understand what I'm saying? All right, let's talk about others. We got these prisons we're going to talk about next, but say you got everybody here in prison, everybody working, try to get by. It's a slave train. All right, so you got police, right? And they arrest people, right? These police take people. God damn it. It's a goddamn buzz cut, military, whatever. All right, so these people will sit in a damn prison for 30 years, 60 years, 50 years to get a pension, and they will take whoever, fucking goddamn, a Mexican drug, whoever, a fucking goddamn whoever, all right, into jail. And that person will sit in jail for like 5 years, 2, 3 years, get out, maybe 7 years house arrest. But guess who stays in the prison? This guy. See what I'm saying? Or this woman. And then they're wearing these really tight ass clothes when the goddamn bicep sticks out like that on the bottom half, looking like a washed up Kubiak. You know what I'm saying? Parker Lewis. They're not fucking happy. They need to go out and they waive their authorities for this position, so they don't have their trust access to that. Trust is paying for their uniform in their car. When they come work for you, you become the creditor that takes over the trust of them, and they don't have anything. Then you can own them and own their car and their gun and everything. It's fucking goddamn disastrous. It's a goddamn disaster if you know how this shit works. But yeah, these people are miserable. They're sitting in prison, in jails, their whole life, and they're getting paid by their own trust. You understand? The country's bankrupt. They're paying themselves to work for free in a prison for their whole life, and you're gonna be in there for 7 months. You understand? These people are the ones that are the real prisoners, not you, not the robber or the thief or the weed seller. You're gonna be out soon. They're gonna go back there, miserable. If cops liked prison so much, why in the fuck did they go out of their way to make arrests? Because they're fucking miserable. Nobody in here is having a good time. Everybody in here is miserable. Hiding, lying, not unashamed because your ass is lying. You are hiding. You are ashamed. You won't come out and apologize because you don't think you're deserving, because you feel like you're atrocious. Otherwise, you wouldn't be hiding in the first place. You walk around prideful like I would, You help people, you do right by people, you don't have nothing to be ashamed of. All right, here's another prison that people are in. It's your pineal gland. All right, so this is what's going to go into today's topic. You raise it up, and it feels like it's coming from the back of your neck. It's almost kind of like a microphone coming up. And then as soon as it gets past the eyeballs and ears, it expands into what it feels like to be a can, like a coffee can. As it gets up higher, it gets wider. And then it starts to turn into what appears to be like a top hat, kind of like that. And then eventually it turns into a point, which is what the witches are. So they have more power than the Mason. Low-level people have more power than the low levels. Those witches do. And then there's like grand high witches and shit like that. But the Goku, his shit goes all the way up to the sun. Can you imagine what kind of superhero shit is that? That's fucking extreme power. That's extremely unbelievable, infinite almost. Like, holy shit, everybody run. That's what that shit is. That's like, holy shit. Like, this shit is way 10 nautical miles away to the dome. That's just like a 10 nautical mile cone coming off your head, bro. That is the most extreme, most inconceivably, presumably most lethal in close proximity range. You could literally wipe out a whole city with that kind of power. Like, that's extreme. It's to an extreme, and that's exactly what I'm getting ready to do to myself. So I'm going to bring out this blue flame that is hotter than yellow flames, and it's going to straight to the sun. Unbelievable. So you bring it up past the ears and the eyes, and it turns into a can. The way you get it up is you pry the eyes open and stare into the sun. You use turpentine. It gets in there. It loosens up all this stuff. You gargle with turpentine, loosen up all these electrical grounds. Your teeth are electrical. Sends electrical charges from the top to the bottom, coming from this area, transcending to the silica, which is electrical, into the central nervous system that has electric, leading to the heart and everywhere else. When you have a heart attack, your jaw hurts and your teeth and shit like that. But now this is happening to me. I got electricity shooting through my teeth, and it feels like I got toothaches. But it's all just electrical because the shit goes away in like a couple of minutes. See what I'm saying? So you raise it up, it expands into a can. When it gets past the eyes, you'll feel it pulling off of the eyes, or you'll feel the eyes feel like they're going to pop out because there's nothing there constructing it anymore. So it starts off atrophied and small. When you're a kid, you grow big. It stays small. It calcifies and turns into a giant block. Then you got to remove these refrigerators. You got to move these color TVs so you can get on the MTV and have money for nothing and chicks for free. So that's basically the song. I call it credit. But another prison. People that are subjecting rituals to other people are only creating a condition of their own of the same type of confines that are found within the ritual itself. So if you go out and start calling it money, and you want to catch somebody with it because you're calling it money, but I'm calling it credit, or anybody else, but you're calling it money, someone else that handed it to you that doesn't like you, that may say, hey, you failed, you called it money, now you owe me. See what I'm saying? It's like this place is a fucking misery train, a fucking nonsensical atrocity unto itself. And the only people that commit that are people who are like, say, not knowing or ignorant or something. People that commit atrocities are ignorant. So, for example, I stepped on like ant piles before, and I step on them maybe 50 times or more my whole life since I was a kid. But nowadays, I've become so conscious that when I see an ant pile, I think of shopping malls full of people. You know what I'm saying? You step on it, they go running, just like a group of motherfuckers running out of a building on fire, bro. And they're like, get Junior. And there's millions of them, and they're screaming, and they're panicking because they say, man, my life has value. Run. That's what you are in here to them, to the high circle and shit. You're like ants. So the bigger ants that are in here, I guess you call it termites or whatever, we don't know amongst ourselves, we don't really know what real true values are. And that's why we've been brought into this system that teaches us, because we don't really know anything. We're just like ignorant to it. So the people that are in here committing these horrible acts are just ignorant people. Because otherwise they would say, hey man, what do you mean we're going to have a paradise? Man, that sounds fucking awesome. What do you mean? Nobody ever thought of that? Hey, give me the details. So someone that wants to take care of you or forgive you or give you access to something that you use so you don't end up like this guy or chasing behind some elusive lottery ticket to try to catch your Mickey Mouse or any of that stupid ass shit, comes from the ones that are trying to wake you up. For example, like people turn away from the divine feminine. She's got infinite wisdom that'll help you wake up from some shit. It's unbelievable. You call her names, you're downgrading your own perception of her fucking true value, which is only hurting you. Calling her names. She's laughing at you though. But you got names, but you're a loser, right? It's just ridiculous. Let's see, for instance, like I was saying about people being ashamed of themselves and hiding and shit like that, you know? If you were fucking proud of yourself, then the babies would be in the damn supermarkets. You'd have babies' heads on ice in aisle 4 next to the oranges and shit or whatever. I'm just saying. People are ashamed of themselves in here. They ain't proud of being a cannibal and shit. You ain't proud of it because you're not telling anybody about it. Your whole fucking society's ashamed of themselves. You're living in your own prison. You can't even see it, but you can't get out of it. And it's just as hard as a goddamn concrete cell. And you can't tell anybody about what you know. And you can't flash all your cash around. What's the point of being someone who has a secret amount of cash and can't even use it? And you gotta live frugal. What's the point in that? It's a cell. You're trapped in it. If I come out doing this true shit, I get $1 billion. You think I ain't gonna show it to nobody? I can show it to whoever the fuck I want. I can tell everybody anything I want. That is this way. You know what I'm saying? Be free, without shame. Don't have to lie, don't have to hide. That's this way. You know what I'm saying? When your master went this way, your motherfucker should have did that shit too. I'm just saying. Because when you go this way, you get more of everything. And progression is about expansion and learning and shit like that. I get it. It was a bunch of ants in here. I stepped on ant piles all the time. But then when you realize they ain't ants anymore, then you go back to this. Simple as that. But everybody that's stuck in this, what are you doing? You're all miserable. You gotta rip children apart and drink their blood and shit. Like, that's misery. That's a goddamn misery. So, you raise this thing up. The only prison that people probably should be worried about is getting this one straight. You get this shit straight, there's no Kubiak prison guard. There's no burger flipper. None of that shit. You turn into Mr. Incredible or Mrs. Incredible or Elastigirl, whoever the fuck. So you raise this thing up, it expands, and then eventually it gets up higher. Now, mine was here yesterday. But when I pushed it up, I thought this was up here. But when I pushed it up there, it started hurting. Like it was like resting on like fault cracks and pain coming out the top of the head. Like trying to produce this whole thing here. And when it does, it's going to shoot out like a fucking rush out of hell. Like I'm waiting on the most heinous DMT hit that I've ever had in my life. I'm preparing for that. And the more I push, the harder this is, and then it starts to balloon. And today it took me about 2 hours to get it up that high from being just slightly below it. So you gotta push and push and push. The good thing about the stuff that they're spraying and the food you're eating is that once you get it up that high, all you gotta do is just breathe, and the shit calcifies it and holds it up there. And then you just finish where you left off the next day. So this whole calcification shit, that shit's a fucking disaster. Because as soon as you start lifting up, it's gonna help you get out because it's gonna serve you and hold your shit up. And you could feel like tendons stretching in your neck and everything, but it's really like helping you. Because if you go back to the sun again, then you're just gonna fucking have your shit already stretched out and everything else. You don't have an open capacity though to send electrical around to stay within the capacity. Because where I'm at right now is I should be able to see everything the way everything is. But since I don't take their little pills or whatever it is they're doing or whatever this shit is that keeps their body clean, I think it's pills that have gold in them, like natural 100% pure gold and some other elements that are red shelled, and they pop these pills. You listen to Queens of the Stone Age. All right, so because I am not in a capacity that's meant to be held back, like what I was telling you, all right, because Mickey's telling you how to get free from this, from all this. So why the fuck do you think they needed you to hurt Mickey Mouse? This motherfucker is trying to tell you how to become rich off of your shit and tell you how to free yourself from the Matrix and tell you how to free yourself from reptilians and anything else, any other atrocital shit in the most simplest ways possible. And you guys have been killing this guy all this time. And what does that make you feel like? Smart or what? This dude is coming from these people. And this dude just wants to help everybody, just like the goddamn cartoons you've been watching. This dude just wants to help people. Motherfuckers drowning and shit. He wants to throw him a life preserver. Get him a boat next. It's like, Mickey ain't never hurt nobody. He just wants to fucking love people and gives a fuck about people. And that's all you've ever seen. And now the cat's out the bag. He wants to open your trust and give you $100 million each so you don't have to struggle anymore. And that goes for everyone. And all these people in here trying to hurt him, you're fucking ignorant. You understand? That's why you're doing this stuff, these atrocities. And these prison guards, they're ignorant. These motherfuckers, 100 multi-millionaire sitting in a fucking prison cell, extorting people, other people's trust. Like, get your own and go out there and live, man. Get on a sailboat and go fucking have a good time with your life. Because he didn't want to read. He didn't want to study the law. He didn't want to know what his rights were. And that's everyone's responsibility. There's a lot of people. They're showing up in my fucking comments feeds talking about, hey man, why don't you just teach us the law in the YouTube video? Stop trying to make people pay for it. And I'm just like, actually, it's not my responsibility to teach you your rights. But if you think that it is, and that is the reason why you're here in the first place, it's because you don't take responsibility for yourself. That's why. That's why you're in this and walking around like that, flipping burgers and shit, talking about how come such and such. Dude, when this shit was happening and I saw how horrible this kind of shit, 9-to-5 shit was, I was like, no, I ain't doing it. I even tried to do it. I fucking had a nervous breakdown. I was like, I can't do this shit. This is not the life for me. It's not a life. There's people in there still doing it, thinking about committing suicide every week. Every single week of their lives to think about. Every Monday comes around, oh my God, I wish I would die. They're sitting in goddamn commutes and shit, goddamn rush hour traffic in the morning. Boring. I get up and I do whatever the fuck I want because I make good choices. It's all about making the choices. You have talent. You've got natural talents, natural things that you love to do. A destiny in this world that will give you the greatest of wealth and pleasure and stuff if you follow your real self and stop pretending to be somebody else. And it goes for mostly everybody. Because everybody's pretending to be somebody else and they're ashamed of themselves. And they hiding, putting on a goddamn mask, pretending to be somebody else, and it's a goddamn travesty. And you know it's true. And if you didn't think so, you would be showing your goddamn face everywhere. You are literally in a prison cell in your own sense of undermining your own existence of your own self. Your livelihood is nothing, zero. You know that everything you say is a lie because you don't believe that money's real. You don't believe anything. You don't believe you're in space. You're walking around here telling nothing but lies, undermining your existence. What kind of fucking life is that? That ain't fucking living. You don't know the difference to differentiate, to see how appalled I am, to look back at people like this and say, oh my God, you must be so fucking miserable because I'm fucking happy as shit right now. See what I'm saying? There's a difference. If I lived that kind of life, it would be very easy for me to say, how would I feel to treat these motherfuckers like shit everywhere I go? I'd feel like shit, and I can do it without doing it. I can feel like shit anyways and say, wow, what a fucking goddamn disaster. So that's what I'm saying, is that people don't realize that all y'all in prison in here, you're all brainwashed and you're all fucking slaves. Doesn't matter if you're a goddamn slave master or not. You're a fucking slave. If you're fucking chasing adrenochrome around and your friend is Johnny Depp and he's a goddamn vampire and his skin is pale and he's dying, you should watch that movie about the blood drive. And they had those actors in it telling you that it was really for vampires to drink. It was blood drives. If people were smart, they would make it a national holiday to give blood. And everybody would give blood in here because everybody's goddamn ridiculous and gone. You make a holiday out of it. And then talk about the past, how people used to drink gallons of it. And it's, oh, that's disgusting. But today we'll do like Halloween, put a mask on, go door to door. You know? Today we'll just go to the blood drives and say on this day, everybody give blood. See what I'm saying? But guess what? The one that you've been killing all this time is the one that gave that fucking solution within a matter of minutes. And that is a huge idea. And they ain't never done that shit because it ain't happening right now. Think about it, man. These people in here are swimming in misery, atrocity, and ignorance. Welcome to Grimnasty TV. Onward we go, because when you get awake, you stay awake.